Hello everyone, how it going? It be me, back again for yet another tier list video, because I haven't made enough of those by now. But nah, in all seriousness, with Hitman's life cycle seeming to reach its end, I thought it might be nice to go back through each mission in the trilogy and take a closer look at the targets and rank them for you all. I'm gonna rank these targets around the main concept of how fun they are to take out, and I'm not talking about taking them out for a nice dinner. The more fun and unique methods there are of taking out your target, the better they are, in my opinion. With all that out of the way, let's get stuck in. And make no mistake, some of these rankings will upset some of you. I guarantee it. Novakov is the first of the main campaign targets to be described as a roamer. Or, in other words, a target who moves around mostly public spaces. On occasion, however, he will dip in and out of restricted areas, such as the makeup area where he has
pretty dresses to attend to.
Since he moves around very public areas, this makes Novakov a very challenging target. Seeing him descend the staircase as you first enter the sanguine fashion show already poses him as a guy quite literally basking in the spotlight, and holy shit, I'm rambling. Point is, targets like Novakov are challenging in their own right. Unfortunately, you are somewhat limited to what you can do with Novakov, if you want a silent assassin rating, that is. You're really limited to about two main options with Novakov. Poison him with the bare-knuckle boxer once you find out what the hell that is.
What the hell is a bare-knuckle boxer?
A what?
Interestingly, though, the light rig kill seems to be the canonical kill since it's shown in the flashback in Untouchable, but it's not a silent assassin kill since some non-targets are killed. The fireworks kill is definitely a standout moment and one of the highlights of this mission as a whole, since you can kill Novakov by dropping Margolis right on top of him.
Both targets are down.
Which is quite satisfying. I don't mind Novakov as a target, but you are pretty limited as to how you can take him out discreetly and silently. For this reason, I'm gonna slot him into C tier, for now. Margolis is more of a dweller who typically remains in one private area, also known as a fortress. This fortress in particular is the Iago auction on the second floor. The auction area is pretty well guarded and a lot more closed in and compact compared to the much larger downstairs. You'd think, therefore, that getting to her and taking her out discreetly would be a challenge, but there are lots of ways in which you can do this. You can get her with the chandelier in the main auction room itself, poison her drink at the bar area, rig a gas lamp to explode. You could stop the auction and get her isolated in this room. Or maybe you want to walk the runway and make your way up to her office as Helmut Kruger and poison her drink with the poison that she gives you.
Ironic.
Or take an invite and sneak into the attic and climb into the bathroom window and infiltrate that way. And of course there's the fireworks kill that I've mentioned already. There's a lot of ways to tackle Dahlia, which I'm a big fan of. I wouldn't go as far as to give her an A tier ranking, but she's certainly a high B at the very least, in my opinion. I didn't actually realize this until I started to make this video and write the script with all of the ways that you can take out these targets, but I think Sylvio might be my favorite target out of the bunch, solely because of how many different angles you can approach him at. There's three main ways that you can enter the mansion via disguise: the kitchen assistant, the therapist, and
Flowers for Mr. Caruso?
The kitchen assistant is really as simple as you like. Poison his meatballs and he'll either just die on the spot, or you can kick him off of this cliff. Depending on what type of poison you use, of course. The flower delivery one is pretty simple too. Just take the flowers down to the grave and wait. Then you bonk him on the head with a shovel and grind him up into wee tiny pieces. The therapist option is a pretty decent one. Just listen to the guy ramble about his mother for a bit.
Your mother was your mother.
What?
Caruso has a lot of triggers like this that you can exploit to lure his guard, such as the VHS tape. Or, if you want to be a real evil bastard, mess around with items around the house and convince the poor guy that his mother is back to haunt him, causing him to pass out.
It's you! It's really you! I didn't mean to. It just happened. I think I'm gonna...
Or maybe you want nothing to do with the mansion at all. Maybe you just want to go around the streets and see a bit more of the level. Not a problem. Take yourself up to the roof with a sniper, shoot this panel and wait for Sylvio to have a look through the telescope. Don't have a sniper? No problem, just use a pistol, it gets the job done too. I should really stop being so enthusiastic about how many ways you can murder people in this game. Might end up putting me on a couple of watch lists or something, but anyway, if you're gonna kill him via telescope, you might want to do that last and run to the speedboat after it's done, because a guard will find him shortly afterwards. But as long as you're quick, you can get an easy silent assassin rating, the perfect embodiment of Agent 47, slick and discreet. Or you could cause an evacuation and blow up his seaplane with a fucking cannonball. Or maybe you could take this explosive golf ball at the safe house, wait for him to get lined up and send him to the Shadow Realm. You know, whatever tickles your fancy, really. I think it's pretty obvious by how much I've rambled that I quite like Sylvio as a target, and I think you can understand why I'm placing him at S tier. Whilst Franchesca can't really compare to Caruso, there are still some memorable enough kills for her as well, such as the golf instructor. I like when the game is able to link your two targets together in a way, and this is a great example of that. Kind of amazed how she isn't suspicious of the fact that the guy sounds suspiciously different over the phone and just goes to meet you anyway.
I know. I'm not the one who calls. I did say that, but, hey, the guy can change.
I want us to meet. Your room.
I should say no.
But you won't. See you soon.
Now that you've got as close as any Hitman player will ever get to going on a date, all you need to do is go to her room and wait. From here, you could just stand up and shoot her.
That is Franchesca DeSantis.
Or poison her as she starts to realize you are the one who did said poisoning.
How could you?
You can poison her with a DNA-specific virus that Caruso engineered. Pretty cool how someone working on a DNA-specific virus gets killed by a DNA-specific virus.
Ironic.
There's another kill that is quite shocking. You could go into the town itself and find a private detective, disguise yourself as him and meet with her by the pier, take her out and hide her in this bin, which is right beside a secret entrance to the lab. Or, if you have the restraint to not knock out the private detective, he can go and meet with DeSantis himself whilst you go back to the mansion area and take her out with a cannon as well. DeSantis isn't as open to approach as Caruso, but there are still plenty of enjoyable ways of taking her out. I'm gonna say B for now, but it's close to an A. I wasn't really sure if I should count the virus or not, but since you're required to destroy it, I figure I may as well. The virus fucking sucks. I don't think that's a very controversial opinion. I mean, it's not like it can really move around anywhere, so you have a maximum of like 4 options. Shoot it. Overheat it. Drop a spiky thing on it.
Eyes open!
Or destroy the laptop connected to it. Whichever way you choose to destroy it, the virus is always the one tedious part of the mission where the objective can't be completed in any really unique ways. The only real thing the virus has going for it is that when it's destroyed, DeSantis comes down to check on it, and you can take her out there.
Target down.
Apart from that, the virus is pretty lame. So, F tier it is. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm not a huge fan of this mission, but the targets in a gilded cage kinda suck. Much like Caruso and DeSantis from the last mission, Strandberg and Zaden are also dweller targets. But they are considerably more annoying to deal with since they're on complete opposite sides of the map. At least the 2 targets in Sapienza were in the same general location. At least you can move them out of their fortresses in 2 main ways, have the 2 meet in the tunnels and kill them with an oil barrel, or wait for Strandberg to meet with Zaden at the school and blow them up with a fucking APC turret. Not exactly silent or discreet, but it gets the job done at the end of the day. Reaching Zaden is a real pain in the ass, especially considering how heavily guarded the school is and how many enforcers there are dotted around the place. At least there are some decent kills for Zaden, such as the printing press, the prisoner, or maybe you want to drop a toilet on him. Or, use my personal favorite, the poison. It's a pretty generic kill, sure, but the reason why I love this kill so much is that you can poison the food and have a waiter bring it to him, so you don't even have to bother with heading to the school. As for Strandberg, there are a couple of decent opportunities, such as disguising yourself as a masseur and relieving him of any future neck pain he may have. Or take a film crew's disguise and drop a moose on top of him. Aside from that, Strandberg is a pretty boring target if you ask me. Just not enough there to really justify me putting him any higher than a C, even though Zaden is a bit more approachable in my opinion. That still doesn't change the fact that both of these targets kinda suck ass. Jordan Cross is yet another dweller target, but I think IO did a bit of a better job in balancing both the challenge of reaching the target as well as having some very memorable kills. There's a birthday cake because
Today is Jordan Cross's 27th birthday. The age when rock stars die.
you can of course just poison the cake, or you could instead opt to smother him in it. As the old saying goes, you can't have your cake and eat it too, so I guess you'll just have to get smothered in it. You could also lure him down to the ground floor and take him out that way. Or maybe you want to disguise yourself as Abel da Silva and take him to the ground floor by alternative means. You could sneak into Jackie Carrington's room and take the disguise and the microphone and give Jordan a truly shocking music track. Or, my personal favorite, sneak your way up to the hotel room in your snazziest suit or your vibrant flamingo costume, doesn't really matter which, and confront him in his hotel room. I'm quite a fan of whenever 47 actually confronts some of his targets. Then he has some sort of mental breakdown or some shit, but it's usually at this point where I just stop caring.
Please, man.
Ken Morgan is a lot less of an interesting target in comparison though. Since he roams around public areas, it can be tricky to take him out silently. I imagine most people just use the suite tour, since it's one of the easier ways of isolating him. Just get a hotel staff disguise and do a bit of cleaning and then give Ken himself a bit of a clean. There we go, all clean. Alternatively, you could rig a tuck-tick to explode or lure him down to the basement.
Okay, let's stand down. That was nothing. Oh, shit!
Or, you could lure Cross and Morgan into the main lobby, where one thing leads to another and Jordan pushes Ken out of the window, just like he did with his girlfriend. Only this time, Jordan's gonna go on a wee flight too. There's a lot of storytelling in the missions themselves, and I think targets like Sylvio and Jordan have a lot of depth to them, if you're willing to dig deep enough to find them, and it can also lead to some very good opportunities to take him out. Jordan is a pretty good target, so I'm feeling a strong A on him. And as for Ken, I'm gonna be nice and say, C tier. Now this is where the game starts to piss me off a bit. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but the targets in Colorado suck absolute ass. I feel like IO really just wanted to crank up the difficulty not only by making the area hostile with almost every NPC being a guard, but also by having a whopping 4 targets. Sha Rose is the main target of the mission, and there are admittedly some good ways of eliminating him. There's the nitroglycerin, the iconic Link 4 smartwatch kill,
Email. Boom?
and you can also trigger his OCD, causing him to try and clean himself, giving you the perfect opportunity to. Rose is definitely a standout target with some solid iconic moments, even if there's not that many. Regardless, I think AB is generous enough here. Parvati is not a bad target either. There's several environmental opportunities such as the fuel tank, the hay bale, and the car lift.
Yes, sir.
party is down.
My favorite moment, however, is whenever you get to ram her. Wait, I could have phrased that better.
That came out wrong.
My favorite kill has to be when you use the ram to kill her. Yeah, that sounds better. It also serves as a nice collateral kill since you can get Rose in the middle of it too. Again, I'm gonna be with AB on this one, mainly because these next two targets are not great. Ezra Berg is pretty lame by comparison. He's at least got a unique appearance, and the whole chemical interrogation stuff is pretty interesting and nicely conveys the point that Ezra is not the nicest of fellas. I mean, I think that Michael Myers' look in mask would convey that same point, but anyway, the prisoner in the basement is a pretty solid location to catch Berg off guard. Aside from the prisoner, you could rig this gas tank in the shed to explode, or cause an oil leak by the lawnmower and wait for him to take a smoke break. Aside from the prisoner aspect, Berg is an otherwise pretty generic target. Except for his appearance, of course. I feel like if there weren't three other targets to flesh out and make interesting kills for, I think Berg could have been more of a standout target. I'm gonna put him into D for now. Graves is an interesting target in theory. The main story tells us that she used to work in Interpol and was leading a manhunt against Sha Rose, but she eventually ended up joining him. This is where I think IO kinda fell off a bit here. Remember earlier when I was praising targets like Sylvio and Jordan for having both an interesting story to them as well as having fun and unique kill methods? Well, Graves has a very interesting story if you care to look into it, but there's not as much depth to her as you think there might be. Besides this, she can be seen as a pretty sympathetic character that you sort of feel bad for having to kill. But as Diana says, a contract is a contract. It just baffles me how a target can have this much potential, but only just a few main ways of killing them. Only one of which is really relevant to the story, mind you. This is of course the slurry pit where you pretend to be an Interpol agent and try to turn her against the militia, which is admittedly a very unique and interesting way of isolating your target. Again, it's just a shame that there's not really much else to her besides this one opportunity. Because the only real other options you have are poisoning her drink, or dropping a chandelier on her in the main house.
Okay, that's it.
I feel like if there weren't as many targets, maybe she could have been fleshed out a bit more, but unfortunately this just isn't the case. Again, she's a character that deserves a bit of sympathy, especially since we got her, kill her. But if you ask me, with some minor changes, she could have just never appeared in the mission and I don't think much would change. I don't want to be mean here, but fuck it, E tier. If you think I'm just stupid for this or any other ranking, you're completely right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Nah, but seriously, let me know what you think of this ranking. Do you agree or disagree? Where would you rank some of these targets? Let me know in the comments. I was considering giving Sodas like a D or an E or something since, he doesn't fucking move. But when I went through the challenges again for this video and was actually surprised by how many ways you can take him out. You can hijack the AI that helps to operate on him, leading to a very brutal execution. You could always perform the surgery yourself and drain his blood, poison his stem cells, or give the chief surgeon information that Sodas killed his father several decades ago. Then once you give him some pills, Laurent will kill Sodas for you.
There. Serves you right, you bastard. And this is for my father.
You can also just rush into the operating theater and reveal yourself to him, which jump scares him so badly that he just dies instantly.
Hey, buddy. Come on, that's it, man.
Or you can destroy the inverted heart that he needs, meaning that.
You have effectively killed him without laying a hand on him.
Or, if you just decide to be a lazy assassin, just chuck a bit of shaman powder at the wall and kill him that way. I genuinely forgot like half of the ways that you can take out Sodas. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by how varied Sodas is. Although, since he's a completely stationary target, you're still pretty heavily limited to what you can do. I'm gonna give Sodas a C tier for now. Yuki's not a bad target either. I'm glad IO improved with their targets after Colorado. You can trap her in the sauna, or you could find a wrench and turn up the heat outside, giving you plenty of time with your isolated target for some yoga.
Did someone say yoga?
There's the fugu fish, the rigged gas lamp and the hospital director opportunity, which are all quite good. A personal favorite has got to be the cable car kill. Just start in your room and start blasting, and there you have it. This skill paired with the shaman powder trick with sodas leads to a very quick and clean SA run. There's not anything amazing about Yuki per se, but I think she's worthy enough of a B tier. And there you have it. There's my ranking for every mainline target from Hitman 2016. I was going to include the bonus missions, the Patient Zero campaign and Sarajevo 6 content in this video too, but first of all, this video is already long enough, and secondly, I thought it might have been better to do this video as a test of sorts to see if people like it, and then I'll do Hitman 2 and eventually 3, and then I'll do one final video on all of the side content targets, if that makes sense. So if you want to see more of this sort of thing in the future, please let me know by dropping a wee like. Also, consider leaving a comment about how you'd rank it and how the virus should have been put on S tier because it's the best thing ever. But in all seriousness, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here today, consider liking the video and subscribing with the wee bell on, and I'll see you all with another video sometime soon. Until next time, have a good one.